Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. So it does seem like Anthony Joshua will fight Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury will fight Deontay Wilder. That seems to be the situation at the moment because the WBO have said they hope boxing fans will enjoy AJ versus Usyk in the near future. So that one seems to be moving forwards, especially considering Eddie Hearn and Alexander Krassyuk have made contact over making this fight. And Krassyuk said they have a fight to make. Now the dates being looked at are August 21st and August 28th, and that is for AJ versus Usyk. So it is still in August, and while Anthony Joshua will have some level of inactivity because he fought in December, it's not going to be like Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. He hasn't been out of the ring for an extremely long time. I would imagine the situation with Tyson Fury would have been more displeasing to Anthony Joshua had he not fought in December, because then it would have been so long, getting towards 2 years of him being out of the ring, and he still doesn't get the Tyson Fury fight, and the inactivity would then be a part of it as well. But considering he fought Kubrat Pulev, that means that AJ doesn't have that level of inactivity. Tyson Fury does, and so does Deontay Wilder. And moving on to that, apparently Tyson Fury said Deontay Wilder asked for 20 million to move over, but Tyson Fury said he won't do that. He would rather get in there and crack him once again. So that is seemingly what's going to happen. Tyson Fury versus Wilder 3 and AJ versus Usyk, no undisputed. Now, Malik Scott did say that Deontay Wilder is not going to take step-aside money. He would never ask for that, and they're dealing with a whole different entity in this situation, and they don't know what they're dealing with. Well, Tyson Fury knows what he's dealing with. He's fought him twice, beat him twice, in my opinion anyway. He won the first fight, so Tyson Fury does know what he's dealing with, and I'm not necessarily going to say I believe what he's saying. I don't think that Deontay Wilder is happy to not take step-aside money and not take his opportunity. I would imagine that if he could get 20 million to step aside, Wilder's going to take it, because then he can have an interim fight, he can work on certain things. With his new training team, Malik Scott has now come in, so he can work on some things in the meantime. Then when he gets his opportunity again, he will be in a better position. So if there was a chance for him to have step aside, I'd imagine he'd take it. But clearly Tyson Fury is not keen to do that. It seems like Tyson Fury is quite happy to get back in the ring with Deontay Wilder. I know that in this situation he doesn't have much of a choice, but he doesn't seem to be all that cut up about not having undisputed with AJ. I know he believes he's going to get it in November, December, and I guess they just have to move on. It's disappointing for fans, I guess, that we are not going to be seeing this undisputed fight next. And it does make you wonder if they can actually get this fight done. I'm interested to see how quickly they can make AJ versus Usyk and Wilder versus Fury, because I know that those fights are kind of obligated by the champion. So Tyson Fury is obligated to face Deontay Wilder now, and AJ is obligated to fight Usyk, but there are still things that need to be straightened out. I'm interested to see how quickly that gets done, considering how long it has been with Undisputed. The negotiations became very long in the tooth, and the fight still wasn't agreed. Well, it was agreed, but it wasn't announced, and it stumbled on that final little stage, which was the arbitration, which was originally the reason why Tyson Fury was free to go and face AJ anyway, or so he believed. And that was the reason why, but still, negotiations were lengthy. It took them ages, and I know that it's the biggest fight in world boxing, but still, it will be interesting to see how long it takes them to make AJ Usyk and Wilder Fury. My guess is a couple of weeks. Nowhere near as long. If they're going to fight in August or July for Tyson Fury and Wilder, then they're not going to have that long. But it ain't going to take them that long to make those fights. So you have to wonder, why did it take so long to make Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua? I would imagine the reason why is because of the arbitration. Perhaps they had to put it off until that point to know that they were safe to move on, but it has been decided now that they are not, and Fury must face Wilder once again. I'm not really that interested in Fury versus Wilder 3, because I think that Fury has proven he can beat him, and he's done it twice. He's outboxed him and he's stopped him. So I don't really feel the need for a rematch between these two because we've seen who the better man is. If Wilder has another opportunity down the line and gives himself some time to get better, then maybe it could be a different story. Maybe we see more of a competitive matchup, and there is always the chance that Deontay Wilder detonates that big right hand and wins the fight. There is always that possibility, but the thing is, you can't see how he can compete because he hasn't improved. What time has he had to improve? He can work on things in the gym with a new coach or something like that. I mean, Malik Scott is not an experienced coach. He needs someone experienced to come in. So he can work on certain things with the training team that he has, but that can only get him so far. Experience in the ring is the thing that will get him further, and he hasn't had that since the Tyson Fury fight. So how can you see anything other happening than what happened last time? AJ versus Usyk is a different kettle of fish because we don't really know what is going to happen. I would imagine that AJ will be too big, too strong, and too powerful for Usyk. Given the trouble that Derek Chisora caused him, AJ is faster, he moves better, puts his punches together a lot better. I mean, he is better than Derek Chisora, and the problem is for Usyk is he really struggled to overcome Chisora, and that's nothing to be ashamed about. Chisora is a great fighter, but AJ has other aspects of his game, and as I said, he's just a bit sharper, more explosive, and puts his punches together a lot better than Chisora does. So that will make it very difficult for Usyk, and I would imagine that AJ stops him within 8 or 9 rounds. It's going to be a great fight, and I'm not trying to be just biased to AJ. I just don't see what Usyk can bring to the table that can bother Anthony Joshua. His movement, his endurance, and things like that, his awkwardness as well, those things will give Anthony Joshua problems. I just don't think they're enough to beat him. I mean, if he is able to, then it's an incredible performance, and what a great victory it would be for Oleksandr Usyk. I just don't know what he can bring to the table that will cause AJ problems like, say, Klitschko did, or Ruiz did. He doesn't punch as hard as them, he's not as fast as Ruiz, maybe close to it, but I wouldn't say he's as fast, and it's just he doesn't have that punch resistance because I know he's never really been hurt that badly in the pro game, but he was dropped in the amateurs with a body shot, and AJ does go down to the body, and it's just the power that AJ possesses, even those with the granite chins, they're going to struggle to stand up to that. Ruiz struggled to stand up to that, even at what, 280 pounds or more, he still struggled to take the power of Anthony Joshua in the second fight, because that first punch in the first round that landed on Ruiz clean, that really made him stumble back. So it's going to be difficult for Usyk to take the power and dish out his own in this fight. You know what guys, it's a shame because all of this undisputed talk and the things about Wilder and Fury, they have kind of put the dampers, or maybe not dampers, but they have taken some publicity away from the big fight that is happening this weekend. Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. Now, is this an incredible fight? Or is this an incredible fight? Two undefeated champions coming together to see who is number one in their respected weight class. And two champions also who have moved quickly through the pro game. Josh Taylor a little bit quicker. He's only had 17 fights and he's in an undisputed fight with Jose Ramirez. Now, I would say that Josh Taylor for me has shown more in the past, but the one thing with Josh Taylor is he has this need, I guess, in some ways, to get involved too much. He's a good boxer, got a good amateur pedigree, but he does get a bit caught up in the tornado, I guess you could say, and I think that sometimes it can cause him difficulties in fights because he does love to get stuck in. We saw that in the Prograis fight, especially when he suffered that injury to his eye, then had to try and overcome that. So I think that in this fight he will look to be clever and to be smart, but he will want to get stuck in when that time comes. If Jose Ramirez wants some of that, then Josh Taylor will stand there and have it with him. That is why we are looking at a very entertaining fight to see who is undisputed. This is the undisputed fight that is happening. I know AJ versus Fury isn't, but this one is going ahead this weekend. So I hope that this one doesn't now fly under the radar given what is happening in boxing with the heavyweights, because this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. Guys, anyway, pick your favourite subject and leave your thoughts on it in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.